Hi and welcome back. In the last section, you learned about why React.js is so important and how it enables us to create modern web applications. In this section, we are going to get started building our first React.js applications. So let's get started. I'm going to go over here and I'm inside my project folder. Of course, you can be anywhere in your directory. What I want to do is to create a directory, let's say learning React. Now let's go ahead and go inside this directory. Of course, the directory is completely empty as I just created it. Let's go ahead and create a very simple file, the HTML file, touch, and then index.html. Now what I want to do is to open up this directory completely in my application called Azam. Now obviously you can use any kind of coding editor tool. I'm just going to use Azam because it's free and it serves the purpose. Now this is an HTML file but doesn't really have any HTML code in it or HTML script tags. So let's go ahead and create some sort of at least the basic HTML tags consisting of HTML head and body. All right, here we go. So we are done with that. Let's go ahead and see if we can actually run this file. So let's go ahead and refresh that. And this is what our application looks like. We didn't really add anything, so no surprises over there. Now we are ready to add a link to our React.js files. Now there are a couple of different ways that you can install or use React in your application. You can link it to a CDN or JS file, a standalone version, and you can use that. That is good for development purposes, but when we are deploying to the production, it's not really a good idea to use that because everything the JSX has to be converted into JavaScript, and you don't really want to do it on the fly, as we have covered in section number 1. So the different technique, the more advanced or production-oriented technique, we are going to learn in later sections. So right now we're just going to go ahead and add the CDN links. Since React is a Facebook product, you can simply go to this URL, React docs installation.html, and you can find those 2 CDN links that you really need. Copy that, go back to your editor, and paste it. Boom. In order to convert the JSX, which is the React code, into a JavaScript, you also need some sort of a JavaScript compiler. In our case, this is Babel. So if you go to cdn.js and search for Babel, you will find Babel core. And you can simply copy this URL. Let's go back over here, create script source, add this URL, close the tag, make sure, and there we go. Let's go back to our index.html and refresh the page. Once you refresh the page, you will find that there's some error in the Babel. And this Babel framework or compiler is not recognizing the React.js version number. And there's a problem with the 6.1.19 Babel that is hosted on the CDN.js. Now, either you can find a standalone Babel, which is this one, and copy this particular link, or you can go ahead and find a different version that you want to use. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the shortcut and going to use a different version, which is 5.8.23. Let's go ahead and save it. And now let's go ahead and refresh it. And now you can see that the error is now gone. If you can find the link to the Babel standalone, then you can replace this over here and it will still work. So now we are ready to create our first Hello World application using React.js. Let's go ahead and dive into the body section. I'm going to create a React DOM.render, which is used to render different items. And I can render anything over here that I want. So I'm going to simply say, all right, so render a div. And inside the div, I'm just going to say hello world. So this is the HTML block that I want to render. But I also want to tell it where exactly do I want to put this. Now, it really depends. If you have different controls, you can put it in the different controls, or if you have body, you can put it in the body. I think for us at least, it will be much simpler if we simply put it in body. So let's go ahead and say document.body and save it. One thing we need to do is the React code just cannot just mix up with the body or the HTML code. So you have to separate it with somehow. So you have to create script tags. Let's put it inside the script tag. Of course, the script tag must also know that this is a special type of code you're writing. This is definitely not the plain old JavaScript code. You're typing React.js code. So let's go ahead and give it text and Babel. What this will do is this will tell Babel to convert this code into the JavaScript code, and then it will be injected into our page. Let's go ahead and refresh that. And we can see over here that hello world is printed on the screen. Now, obviously, this is saying that you should not add items directly to the document, the body. So let's go ahead and create an element in the body and give it an ID called container. It's just a placeholder where we can inject some elements. Now I need a reference to this particular container. So how about we say document.query, let me see actually, I believe it is query selector. And then I can give it some sort of ID. That what ID that you're looking for? Well, the ID is container because we just created that. And there we go. So now it's inside the div element, which is called a container. You can see that this is what it actually injects. We have a div ID container, and inside the div ID, it injected that particular element that we just did. We can even go one step further to make it a little bit more better. We can actually go ahead and save that div ID or the container inside a variable so that we don't have to type that long thing again and again. So here we go. So we have moved the container, and now the container is inside a variable called container. So instead of writing all of that stuff, we can simply replace it by container. Let's go ahead and refresh the page, and of course the result will exactly be the same because all we did is to move the element, the query selector, the element inside the container variable, and that is what we are doing over here. After comma, we are simply saying that put this code in container. And that's it. That's at least will get you started with the React.js applications. There is, of course, a lot more to come. So stay tuned, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much.